Oh,
Oh,
I actually hit it. I thought it would give me some options, and it's going to the cloud. So I think we're in good shape, unless you want me to stop and you want to do it to make sure it's working.
no, I'm sure it's working.
Okay, great.
We'll just leave it there.
Great.
Hey, Mavis. See you down there.
Hi, Eric. How are you? Hello,
Good.
everyone.
Nice to see you. Or at least a photo of you.
Verizon broadband. Do I need to say more?
Oh, okay, fair enough. We're just giving it a couple minutes for people to trickle in.
I've trickled.
What's that?
I've trickled.
Yes, Dave, you've trickled.
I thought you weren't supposed to trickle in public.
Yeah.
It's fun reading the subtitles in this conversation. Okay. I think we're getting there. We had almost 70 people registered. So, we're almost at the 50% rule, I guess. But I don't want to keep people waiting too long. I'm going to wait one more minute before starting. Thanks for showing up on this beautiful evening. Wish I could have planned a rainy day for it.
The 14th would have been good.
Yeah, I know.
Or tomorrow, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went out for a bike ride at lunchtime. The city certainly seems to have felt obligated to use up the surplus salt. You think we had a blizzard, my goodness.
It was definitely very well salted out there. All right, I think we can get started. How's it going, everybody? My name is Eric Bohr. I'm the Advocacy Director of Bike Pittsburgh. Thanks for attending the first quarterly all neighborhood Bike-Ped Committee meeting of 2023. Seeing some new names and faces out there. So just a little brief on what this meeting is. It's our quarterly chance to catch up, talk about bike and pedestrian advocacy in Pittsburgh and the area. It's a great chance for folks to meet each other from other neighborhoods and kind of learn what each other is up to. We usually try to get a guest speaker to talk about upcoming or from a variety of different subjects. So this month we have Sean Stephens from DOMI, who's graciously put together a presentation for us. Yeah, so really want this to be a conversational meeting. So we'll give some updates from us, some things we'd love to share, and then we'll have the presentation from Sean, and then a chance for us to share amongst each other what's going on in your specific neighborhood. We used to do this as a 2-hour meeting. Some feedback we got last year was that 2 hours felt a bit long. So we have shortened it to 1.5 hours, and we're going to try our best to keep to that. So with that said, there's a lot of people on the call, and I don't want to go through and have everybody introduce themselves and go through that whole thing. So if you don't mind, just check out the chat feature. At the bottom, there's a little chat box. Just drop your name and what neighborhood you're in, so people know who's here. And then we'll have a record of that as well. So really appreciate that. And with that, let's get started. So Seth, can you drop the agenda into the chat for me?
You got it.
Yeah, so Seth's gonna drop the agenda in the chat. And we actually wanted to start with introductions of a couple of Bike Pittsburgh staffers. Actually, there's more Bike Pittsburgh staffers here than I originally thought, so I'll introduce them all. But I see Ted King-Smith. I want to say hi, Ted. He is the education manager. I saw Allison.
Hello, everyone.
Bonavoglia, the membership manager. Did I get that right? I see Christine Yokel. You there, Christine?
I'm here.
What do you do, Christine?
I am the business and sponsor manager. So if you work at a business that wants to sponsor something with Open Streets or Pedal or anything, hit me up.
Thanks. I see Scott Bricker is there. We got the big gun.
Hi, everyone. Executive Director of Bike Pittsburgh.
And thanks, Scott. And then we have two new newish staffers. Julie's not so new anymore, but give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves in the advocacy department. Go ahead, Julie.
Hey, everybody. I am the communications and marketing manager of Bike Pittsburgh. And as Eric said, I'm not so new anymore. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary here. But one of 3 full-time staff here in the advocacy department, but I really manage all things communications across like every department. So I would love to support anything that any of you are doing in your neighborhoods and communities as a Bike-Ped committee. There's a couple ways that I can do that. So I don't know if you want me to go into detail with that now, Eric. Is this my big time?
You can go into a little detail.
A little bit. I'll keep it short.
Yeah.
If there's anything you have going on, if you tag at BikePGH on social media, that's the best way to allow me to reshare it onto our channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you tag at BikePGH, it gives me it gives it greater visibility, like literally on my feed, so that I can then share it with our audiences that are pretty large on those platforms. And then if you also have any email communications that you'd like help with targeting to our subscribers list via zip code, we can definitely help with that as well. So just want to definitely keep communication open. And if you need help uplifting what your group is doing, talk to Eric and Seth and I, and we'll help you out.
Thanks, Julie. And then our another new staffer we have is Seth Bush. Go ahead, Seth.
Hey, everyone. So glad to be with you. I am wrapping up my 3rd week here at Bike Pittsburgh, and I couldn't be more thrilled with this new role. And yeah, joining you from Swissvale tonight. That's where I live with my partner and our dog, Riker. I'm a Star Trek nerd. If anybody else wants to, nerd out with me, please do so. Lived in the city from 2008 to 2014. Went to school at Pitt and moved to Baltimore, but came back because I'm just so in love with this city and this community and this place. My role at Bike Pittsburgh really is going to be helping all of you who are part of Bike-Ped committees do what you do effectively, right? You're already so effective in so many ways, and I'm here to help you level up, solve problems, organize effectively. I've got a background in grassroots organizing, especially in the environmental climate justice space, and very excited to be bringing that here in the bike and pedestrian advocacy space, something that I am very passionate about. Specifically, what I'm working on right now are 3 main projects. One, just getting to know all of you involved with the bike and pedestrian committees. Many of you have already heard from me on email. If you are leading or in leadership of a bike pedestrian committee or group and you haven't heard from me, please go ahead and put your email in the chat so I can check in with you, because it's possible that I don't have the most up-to-date email for you. You can feel free to direct message that to me if you want to hear something from me and want to learn what you're working on, what's working, what support you'd love from Bike Pittsburgh, how I can help. I'm also updating our contact lists and our meeting calendar. So if your group is meeting, currently, and you'd like to publicize that to the greater bike community so people can find you, make sure I have the most up-to-date information for that. And finally, I will be helping all of you working on capital budget requests to have any support you need on that front. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but know that I am on deck to help you out with your capital budget requests. And for those of you who are perhaps new, or again, really, if you've been involved with Bike Pittsburgh for a while, we're doing a bit of assessment of our currently active volunteers. And we're inviting people to fill out this brief and very helpful web form. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Oops, I gave that to Abe directly because he messaged me. So let me do that again. There we go. So I'd love everybody just to take a moment to click that link and open it. This is for everybody on the call, so I can get a little bit of information about who you are and how are you involved in bike and pedestrian advocacy in Pittsburgh. And if you want me to follow up with you, that's a good place to indicate that as well. So please take a moment to fill that out, you know, on the call or after the call. And that will be really helpful for us to get a sense of who's here, how are you involved, how can we help? And yeah, I'm excited to be on your team and support everyone here in any way I can.
Thanks, Seth. That was great. Cool. Well, now we know each other. Real quick point of logistics, Sean, I forgot to ask you if you wanted to go first or if you wanted to go through, if you wanted to hear the updates from us. I don't know what your time is, so I just want to be respectful of that. I have about 15 minutes of things, and then you, or we can do you, and then, you know, I can go to the 15 minutes.
Would you mind if I go first?
I don't mind at all.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
You're our guest, and I want to you know, make this as easy as possible for you. Yeah. So
no worries. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll just introduce you. This is Sean Stephens. He's I don't know your title at DOMI.
Project engineer.
Project
currently.
engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I knew his engineer was in there somewhere. I just didn't know what preceded it. Project engineer at DOMI, and he's here to talk about the upcoming complete streets and traffic calming projects. With that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Sean. Let me know if you're able to share your screen and whatnot.
Yeah, thank you. Let me do this. Hopefully you can see my screen. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Eric. As Eric mentioned, I'm Sean Stephens, project engineer. My day-to-day is managing our neighborhood traffic calming program. And I'm sort of subbing in for Paige Anderson, who manages our Complete Streets program. And I'm here tonight to give a general update and overview of our 2023 projects. So I'll sort of jump right in. I wanted to also give a little overview of our traffic engineering team, just to give some context to our capacity and sort of who we are as a team. So our Traffic Bureau Chief and Municipal Traffic Engineer is Mike Malik, who oversees all of us. And like I said, Paige and I independently manage our traffic calming and complete street programs. And then we have one project manager who handles traffic signals. To support us, we have 3 staff engineers, as well as an additional project engineer who handles maintenance and protection of traffic, which is handling traffic during construction times. And this, we're a small but mighty team. We are responsible for all of the traffic control on all city streets. So that includes signals, signage, pavement markings, vertical elements, and the MPT that I had just mentioned. That includes all capital improvement projects that are either grant funded through the capital budget that City Council passes. And then we are also responsible for maintenance and operation of all of these items. So we are, like I said, we have a lot in our purview. we are a small team, just to give a little bit of context about, you know, what our capacity is, because sometimes I think that might get lost in the fray. I'm first going to talk about the calming program and then go to complete streets. I'm going to do a recap of what we've done and then new projects, and we will have time for questions and comments, and I do ask that those be asked at the end of my presentation, if that's okay. So to start off, I'm going to give a recap of our neighborhood traffic calming program. It is very popular. To date, in its 4 years that it's been around, we've received over 1,300 traffic calming applications now, which has translated to 470 or so streets that we've evaluated for induction into the program. And then of those, I think we've made it nearly, we're nearly caught up with processing all the applications. But there are currently 120 projects that are in need of traffic calming, which is more than we can do in 1 or even 10 years based off of current staff capacity and funding. And so because this is popular and in high demand, we did have to put together some pretty stricter parameters for prioritization. For folks that aren't familiar with that, there's a lot of really good information on our Engage page and our DOMI traffic calming page with what that information is. Just for time's sake, I'm gonna sort of skip over that. But this year we constructed a total of 15 projects with traffic calming elements. I think it is the single most amount of traffic calming work that we've delivered since DOMI has been around and this program has been working. Of those 15, we designed 12 of those in-house. The bulk of those were done by my staff engineer, Katie Trupo. Huge shout out for doing nearly all of the work from planning, design, and overseeing construction. And then through
Sean,
those, oh yeah.
Sorry, real quick. I don't know if your slides are advancing.
Oh no.
Or if you, it shows you as like on 1. And that's what we're all seeing at the moment. So I just want to point that out before you go too deep.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said something. Let me just do entire screen.
Sean, when you said this year, I'm assuming you meant 2022, not 23.
Sorry, say that again, Tom.
I was assuming you said you had done projects this year. I'm guessing you meant 2022.
Yes, I'm sorry. I probably
Gotcha.
spoke there. Okay.
That's looking better. Yeah.
Now it's better. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
this
that's
is the
engineering
overview.
team. Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, this is the overview of our team and where we're at in staffing. So like I said, total of 8 engineers currently. And we are going to be staffing up this year with an improved operating budget, which is good. And then recap of our 2022 projects. And so I won't do this whole spiel again. But like I mentioned, we did 15 projects, the single most amount of traffic calming projects in the 4 years that this program has been operating. And then through those projects, we did an additional 12 pedestrian and intersection improvements, as well as 30 crosswalks marked. I'm not even going to touch on the traffic safety program, which had about 24 projects all around the city that were smaller intersection improvements that we also completed just for time's sake. But we completed a lot of work through calming and safety just last year. Looking ahead to this year, we have several projects through different capital budget deliverables. So that is our neighborhood traffic calming program, as well as additional projects through the Homewood Mobility Plan. I have the first 5 projects for the first round of 2023 projects for this year. 2 are in Glenwood, Hazelwood area, which are Johnston Avenue and Mansion Street. There's a project on portion of Shady Avenue in Squirrel Hill South, Terman Avenue in Brighton Heights, and Bailey Avenue in Mount Washington. Each of these projects have an individual Engage page, which are live, which have sort of more detailed information. And like I had mentioned, these are the first round, and we will have additional projects in the year, but we just need a little bit more time for planning before we unveil those. Most of these projects will be speed hump and or tables, as they are our most effective tool in traffic calming. But Terman Ave is actually going to have chicanes and a traffic circle as well. We are piloting chicanes on Terman, so there's more information about what those will look like and what those are if you aren't familiar on the project's Engage page. Moving over to the Homewood Mobility Plan side of things, there was a larger neighborhood level planning document and study done for the Homewood neighborhood that identified some pedestrian improvements and safety issues throughout the whole neighborhood, covered things like critical sidewalk gaps, bus shelters, bus stop improvements, and also through that plan identified some traffic calming work throughout the neighborhood. There were a total of 5 projects identified, 2 of which were constructed in 2022. And then there's a little bit of carryover for one of those, which is Kelly Street. There's some additional pedestrian improvements that will be deployed come May. And then 3 remaining corridors on Frankstown, Hamilton, and Oakwood. Again, there's going to be tables and chicanes as well, actually, on Oakwood Street. And there are individual Engage pages for each of those projects as well. And then, like I said, we're going to have additional calming projects this year, which we'll sort of parse out as they are ready. But we're aiming to do a total of 15 again for 2023. And then I also wanted to give a small update about the requests for the traffic calming program generally. Some of you might have noticed that we have removed the application form. That was the old Google form at the end of the year. Because this program is so popular and in high demand, we realized there was a need to better streamline the way that this program is viewable and being up to date on the status of projects. So we're working on a whole map-based request system, again, to streamline and remove redundancy so that people aren't submitting additional requests or redundant requests for streets. And then it will also show updates on this map as well on the applications that have been submitted. It'll show if your street is eligible or not based off of our program's requirements. It'll show if it has met our speed threshold in our data collection, whether we're doing, whether it's been inducted into our into the program as a design, and whether it's been constructed. And then small reminder that calming projects really are to reduce speed and or volume on like a corridor level. And so if you do have requests that are related to intersections or crossing improvements, the 311 still is the best way to do that. We're still trying to firm up the difference between calming and what we call traffic safety, which are intersection based. And I know that can get a little sticky and muddy sometimes, but really the best way, again, for an intersection or crossing improvement is 311. Please do not submit for a traffic calming request if you're looking for a crosswalk. Not to say that we don't mark crosswalks through calming projects, but Again, sometimes there are just streets that are not gonna, make the cut for a calming if you're just looking for a crossing improvement. And then we're hoping to unveil this whole new portal come April. So we're very close in having it ready, but just need a little bit more time. And then we'll be going live soon. Switching gears to complete streets. Just small recap from 2022. We did almost 10 miles of either new or upgraded facilities throughout the city. Almost probably everyone on this call had something to do with one of these projects. So, big shout out and thank you for your support and advocacy. A number of these probably would not have come to fruition without, your support. So we do greatly appreciate that, and, constantly pushing us to make sure that we can do the best project that we can. With as many barriers that we do have. Again, your support is valued. Looking at 2023 projects for complete streets, there are 4 total right now. And I'll go through each of them individually because there are a smaller number than the calming. And there are detailed, somewhat detailed pages, engage pages for each project with more information, but I'll go through each. First one is the downtown Penn Avenue cycle track upgrades. This is a 2023 capital budget project that was included by council in the last budget. The scope is going to be from Point State Park to 11th Street in the heart of downtown, and recognized the need for more robust protection on the cycle track and at intersections. So we're looking at doing these precast concrete curbs, sometimes they're referred to as pills, that would, basically be in the buffer zone of the cycle track and are immovable because they're anchored into the asphalt or the pavement. And then we're also doing a center line bollard at each intersection to prevent anyone from entering the cycle track at the intersections. We'll also be repaving the bike lanes at a minimum on this stretch. And then reevaluating some of the loading zone allocations through this stretch to make sure that we have enough space for the loading needs through the corridor. And part of that would be some of the smart loading program run out of our policy group that are those little pink zones that you might have seen. And so that's going to be a part of this project as well. Next up, Dallas Forbes Beechwood Safe Connections. This is a multifaceted sort of complex intersection to improve connections and pedestrian, or improve connections for pedestrians and cyclists. There is I could do a whole meeting just on on this project because of its multi-layered approach and improvements, but there is an engage page with a lot of detailed information, as well as all of the previous engagement that has been done to date on this project, including the presentations with the background and what the scope is. But we are aiming for a spring 2023 installation for what had been presented. If you have not been informed of this project yet, please go check out the engage page for more detailed information. Shady Side Connector, this is the final phase 2. There's the last treatment, which is a traffic circle at Ellsworth in Devonshire, which is to be constructed in the summer of this year. So that will include new ADA ramps, new high visibility piano key crosswalks, and then splitter islands, sort of as shown on the picture here. And that's an example from the Coral Comrie or Bloomfield Friendship Neighborway. So yeah, look for that come summer. And then our newest project, which I don't think has been discussed much with this wider group before, is Trail to Maredale Neighborway. A connection between the Three Rivers Heritage Trail to Riverview Park in the north side was identified in the Bike Plus plan some years ago now. And then actually through the Move Forward program, there was a planning effort to help better determine the route to which to get from the trail to the park. And that identified route is McClure and Woods Run Avenues. A lot of different street contexts through there. And so we're sort of evaluating the entire corridor for calming and safety improvements, as well as any dedicated bike infrastructure or connections lanes that we can provide through here. We're still in the planning stages for this one, but right now we are looking for any feedback or any of your experiences in riding on these corridors. If there are any, pinch points, any close calls, any, uncomfortable zones or locations, we would like to know about that, please. So the best thing to do is include that as a comment on the Engage page, so we can help capture that information. So that wraps me up for sort of project updates. I want to thank everyone for your support and advocacy. Like I mentioned before, we couldn't do a lot of this work without your help, and we really do appreciate it. It goes a long way in helping us deliver a project and making sure that we can, get to the point we're at construction. Really, really appreciate it. Couple reminders, there's the Engage page links here. There are public facing emails for each program. As I mentioned, we all are a small team, and so I'm sure we owe at least 2 or 3 people on this call an email, but we try to keep up with that correspondence as best we can. Anything related to signals, which just because of time, I didn't even get to touch on any of the projects for this year, but 311 is still the best way to report an issue or problem at signalized intersections. And then there are also a whole host of Engage pages of our signal projects that are live as well. So with that, we can do a little Q&A and comments. I just, again, want to mention too that I'm more on the calming side. So some of the complete streets projects, I might not be able to answer to the fullest extent, but I will try my best.
Cool. Well, thanks, Sean. That was really informative. And I do want to say you guys get a lot done for being such a small team, and we really appreciate that. It is kind of amazing how small your team is, to be quite honest, considering the impact you've had. So there were a lot of questions in the chat. I'm going to look to Seth a little bit for some assistance with that, but we can also use the raise hand feature on here too. I don't know if we want to start with something in the chat first. Seth, do you have one prepped?
Yeah, I think we already answered the question about published map of applications approved and implemented projects through 2022. Did that get handled with the link you sent, Eric?
I don't know. Sean, I dropped a link to the traffic calming map from the DOMI map portal. Is that the most accurate map of the traffic calming stuff?
For traffic calming, yes, there is a current, there is a map that shows the status, but the status is only good through, I think, mid 2022, maybe 2021. Now I'm second guessing myself. So it's not the most up to date. What we're trying to do with this new portal and map is for it to be the most up to date as it can be. That will be coming, but for right now, that other map is probably the best way to know the status.
Cool, thanks.
Awesome, thank you. And then we got a great question from Mavis asking you, Sean, if you could provide an overview of the criteria used to prioritize traffic calming requests.
Yes, I can do that. I'm going to share my screen again. Can you see my screen, folks?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. This is our engage page for the traffic calming program. And so I'll just sort of run through our eligibility and prioritization. For it to be eligible under our program guidelines, the street has to be owned by the City of Pittsburgh and has to have a maximum of 2 travel lanes if a 2-way street, or 1 travel lane if a 1-way street. Basically, that means that if it is a 4-lane road, that is not part of this program because it's a larger corridor project. These calming ones are really at a local neighborhood level street context, which is also part of the roadway classification, which is this local collector or minor arterial street, which gets a little engineering. And one of the things with this new map, it'll show you what each segment or street's classification is, so you'll know if you're eligible or not under the program. And then currently we have a roadway grade maximum because a large portion of our projects are speed humps or tables, and when the grade of the road gets too high, we cannot deploy those type of devices. So once it is determined to be eligible, then we go and collect speed and volume data with traffic counters. So these little boxes that are a radar counter that we put on at a mid-block location, so that we really catch the worst offenders if people are speeding. They count how many cars go down the street in each direction, and they count how fast every car is going. And so we collect all that data for 1 week's worth of time. And then if the speed threshold is met, and this gets a little engineering, sorry, but if a speed threshold is met, then we prioritize it based off of engineering criteria. The speed threshold is that the 85th percentile must be 5 miles per hour or more than the posted speed limit. 85th percentile is like a standard engineering metric that basically gauges how fast a motorist would be comfortable traveling down a roadway. So if they're going 30 miles per hour, that means they're very comfortable going too fast down the street. So we're basically trying to rectify bad engineering design from 50 to 100 years ago. But we're also trying to catch the highest speeders, the worst offenders. And so if the speed threshold is met, we use these 5 criteria as give it an engineering score, which are speed and volume, which is what we collect as a data point. We do a 3-year crash history review, which is actually publicly available information from a PennDOT tool, which Eric could probably provide if people are really interested. Or Seth, there's a link. Eric knows it though. And then the last 2 are pedestrian generators and presence of sidewalks. So you get a little extra points if there are a lot of pedestrians around, because pedestrians are usually our most vulnerable users in a roadway. And then presence of sidewalks is another metric we use because if there is no sidewalk present at all, or it is blocked or inaccessible, you get extra points because you're likely pedestrians are likely walking in the street at that point. So we're trying to make sure that we have a holistic view of of the street and really make sure that we capture the worst of the worst, because this program is so popular. And then our last layer, and thank you for sticking with me because I know this is a lot. Our last layer is adding in equity. We have a DOMI equity index that takes into account census block group data that helps us steer our direction and where we select projects at the end. I know that was a lot. I'm sorry. If there's a follow-up, let me know.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I'm going to follow up with a quick question that I saw in the chat because it's related to this as we're on the subject. Is what do you follow up afterwards with data? And I don't know if I don't remember if you answered that or not. I was looking at the chat.
Do we? Yeah, we typically don't just provide the data. If it is requested of us, we can provide what the data was collected for a particular street. So if there is one, please let me know. The best thing honestly to do is to email that general traffic calming at pittsburghpa.gov, and one of our team members, me or my staff engineer, will respond with the information.
The question was whether you get data after you install traffic calming.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thanks,
yes. Yes, we do. For every traffic calming project, we do collect post data. There's a separate web page that actually hosts all of that, which, hindsight being 2020, it'd also be good to include that on the project page. But one of the things that we can help streamline and improve, but there is a page with that. We can get that to you. Eric, do you know where? You might know where that is.
I think it was, I remember seeing some early ones on the DOMI page. I just don't know if you continued to do them or not, like continue to do the data.
I'll, as a follow-up, I'll make sure that gets to you so you can distribute.
I'm guessing it's hosted on WPRDC. I haven't looked at every single traffic calming project, but traffic counts and things that are similarly of that nature are usually hosted on WPRDC, the Western Pennsylvania Regional Data Center. But +1 to hosting it on the Engage page. That'd be great.
Thanks, Adam. We got a lot of questions, so let's try to get through as many as we can. Let's go to the live audience first. Seth, if you can just prime a couple from the chat.
You got it.
I don't know if it's Roy or Mary. It says Roy, but I see a picture of Mary, and she's at the top of my list. So you're on either Roy or Mary. Are you able to? Okay. No? There you are. It's Mary.
It is Mary. She's muted. She's muted.
You're still muted.
Now you're unmuted.
Now you're unmuted.
Too many pieces of technology in the way. Thanks, Sean, for this. I have a question related to the problem of parking in bike lanes. I know that enforcement is not your problem, but we have been promised, I think, that the 311 categories for reporting incidents would come to include a illegal parking in bike lanes category, just like there are categories for illegal spin scooters and illegal Scooby behavior and things like that. And that would happen so that all of the complaints about illegal parking in bike lane would go to the same place. But I keep looking for it and it keeps not being there. And so I have to report under generic illegal parking where I don't seem to get much response from 311. So my question to you is, what's happening with reporting and follow-up enforcement of the problems of parking, illegal parking in the bike lanes? Additionally, I know that some of the problems were that there were no parking signs posted. And I know there are some bike lanes that still don't have no parking signs, and I think that is a DOMI thing.
Yes, you are correct about signage. That is a DOMI thing. I'll try to answer all the points. I will touch base with our 311 team to see what the status is for that new request type. I wasn't privy to that being a new thing, but I will see if I can get an update from that team on what the status is. As far as enforcement and coordination and what to do about enforcement of illegal parking, we do have we have a monthly coordination meeting with public safety to go over these issues. I will say that illegal parking is continuous. It is pervasive. The police, I don't want to speak for the police because I'm not in that department and I'm not, an officer. But I guess from their point of view, and I'm, speaking from what I know, is they are doing the best that they can. And I know that's sort of a cop-out, but I'm not the director of public safety and I'm not a police chief. And so I do, every time that there is a continuous problem, and there's been on some of my projects where I've asked for targeted enforcement, which they have honored. And I appreciate that. But I guess for a sustained period, it's sort of a systematic issue. And I apologize that I can't fix that through enforcement measures, but there are obviously engineering measures that we can do to help, reinforce people not parking in bike lanes. Because of the nature of a lot of our bike facilities, some are easier to protect than others. And it's part of the evolution of our bike infrastructure and bike lanes, which is why you'll see one of the projects is the Penn Avenue, more robust protection as a 2023 project, because we do recognize that one is, has continual issues. I see Armin has his hand up and probably wants to chime in. We are trying our best.
Yeah, I was gratified to hear that you're going to put in literally concrete protection for Penn Avenue. But what's the right way to identify bike lanes that do not have the no parking signs, whose absence is used as an excuse for not ticketing? Is that a 311 thing or?
Yeah, 311, there's a request type for request new signage. Was a piece of legislation passed, I guess that was last year, that expressly prohibited parking in bike lanes. I am unsure if our policy folks and, city council staff had a debrief with the police to ensure that, maybe there does not need to be a sign every single place in the city where people shouldn't be parking. I'll have to loop back and see if we do need to do maybe a refresher for public safety on that one.
In fact, it's that regulation I'm keying on. So we'll appreciate whatever you can do to get the loop closed so that whatever has to be done to encourage enforcement can be done.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, we can spend a whole session just on enforcement. So I want to try to keep them to questions that Sean can directly answer because he can't really speak for public safety. But thanks for the conversation. I do want to quickly call on Armin because I know he is related to this conversation, posted something in the chat. So just go for it, Armin.
Yeah, sorry, I just, you're here and I want to hold your feet to the fire a little bit. Love DOMI, sorry to do this. 311 is waiting on DOMI to approve it. So they've set everything up to have the car parked in bike lane type in the list. If you are willing, I can add you to an email thread right now. Send me your email address. I'll add you to that thread and you can approve it personally. They just need somebody from DOMI to approve it. So
Respectfully, no, because I think my boss has to do that. But I will. I'll check.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Armin. Just lower your hand if that was your question, or leave it up if you have another one. Let's go to Nancy. You've been waiting for a while, and then Seth, if you can prep up a chat question, that'll be great.
So this is now going to be quick because I just want to pile on to what Mary said, which is that parking in bike lanes is an epidemic. It's really unsafe. I'm at my wit's end about it. I think at this point, I just want to register that. My way out of Highland Park is Negley Avenue, and I'm typically going around 5 or 6 cars parked in the bike lane on a typical kind of morning commute. And what's happening, it's so unsafe. It's actually unsafer than just having, I used to, before we had a bike lane there, I used to just take the right lane, and that felt safer actually than what I'm doing now. The bike lane with the parking in it forces me to weave in and out into the only traffic lane. And I just feel like I'm going to get hit by the side or hit from behind. So I don't just complain also. I want to thank Sean for, today I did a 40-mile loop in Pittsburgh that included Riverview Park. And went through a lot of the complete streets upgrades that Sean described, and they were wonderful. So thank you for all of your help, and sorry to complain, but it's really a pet peeve.
Yeah, thanks for the comment. Seth, let's go to one from the chat, and then we'll get to Dave Fine after that.
I actually have a speed round for Sean that are mostly yes or no questions. So I'm going to put all 4 in the chat, and Sean, you can take a peek and just like that. And I'm sorry, there have now been more comments in the chat, so I'm going to put them in again for you, so they're at the bottom. You're muted, my friend.
Thank you. Number counts of cyclists. We did do bicycle counts citywide. I honestly don't know if, I think we did Ellsworth, but I don't know if we have after data. That's my colleague Paige would know the answer to that one. I can find out though, so I'll come back. We'll provide that later. Current cost, it's about $10,000 per speed hump and $12,000 per speed table currently to install. Yes. We have not looked at publishing the entire list of at least traffic calming projects as they're prioritized. We would be able to provide if they met our threshold, but we have not gotten to the point where we were going to share some of our engineering like criteria and scores. I will though talk about that internally with the rest of our team and the mayor's office neighborhood services team, who I should have mentioned earlier are a big support and help in fielding a lot of these. That's something I will ask to see what we can do there. And diverters, I love diverters. They are harder to implement because of the sometimes political nature of people loving their cars. I'm going to be totally frank with you. We tried to do a diverter at Coral and Comrie and Matilda that unfortunately, was cut out based off of negative feedback from community members. There are certain aspects of this that our hands are tied if they do resonate higher up than me. What one way except bikes. We do have a couple contraflow bike lanes. Bartlett Street in Squirrel Hill North has contraflow bike lane. Melwood Avenue in North Oakland has contraflow. But we only do provide, like, if there is dedicated space for a contraflow bike lane, we won't just wholesale do, like, share the road condition in the wrong way for a bike yet. I know Toronto has legalized that carte blanche, but we're in the US, so there's sort of different policies that we have to follow and guidance. And then
Thanks.
best way for neighborhood groups. I'm not sure if I actually understand that last question about neighbor ways. Like, I know, or if people want to request a neighbor way, is that the question?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was my question. I was asking specifically for the existing neighborways, like Euclid, how we can request, like, improvements to some of those existing neighborways.
What is the what is the heart of the request? Is additional calming?
Additional calming, yeah. I think, like, traffic volumes are still too great, and so my request was with, like, the one-way except bikes. I think there are parts of Euclid that are too narrow for two-way car traffic. And if the entire neighborway was one-way except bikes, I think it would help reduce the number of cars that are using that corridor. And also, or putting in a diverter at, like, Stanton and Euclid or something.
That is a toughie because of our small capacity. We always do, like, a post project data collection for speed and volume. I believe that Euclid there was well, see, it's all skewed because of the pandemic, and traffic volumes are a little wonky in 2021. I'll make a note of it and see what we can do, but it's sometimes tough to go back unless there is a data to support the issue.
Thanks. Oh. I wanted to, Dave, I'll get to you in a second. I wanted to jump in with a question from the chat real quick that ties into what you're just talking about, Sean. It's from Alex Torek. You mentioned that, like, we have the barriers and our supporters appreciate. He was curious what the most common barriers that you face that prevent more complete streets projects from being completed. And then we'll go to Dave after that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a combo of funding and capacity. The traffic calming program is pretty healthily funded for construction, which is we are thankful for. The complete streets work and bike infrastructure sort of has ebbed and flowed over the past couple years. In 2021 or two, I think we had like $1.5 million allocated for, bike infrastructure, and that was sort of tied to the Move Forward program. But, in 2023, there was one bike project, which was the Penn Avenue cycle track that had dedicated funding. Working with your council person, even, the mayor is not directly involved in setting the budget, but they help steer some of the priorities. Working with folks in the mayor's office and your council district to help support funding for these projects go a long way. The other facet of that is we need staff to, be able to manage and implement and oversee the work. As I sort of went over in my overview, we only have currently eight engineers to manage every facet of traffic control and operation throughout the entire city. So we are small, mighty staff, and it's always good to have, you know, some extra bodies. We are going to be getting additional staff this year. We did see an increase in our operating budget, which we're very thankful for. Thank council for that. You know, we're making strides, but that continued push and support is helpful.
Thanks, Sean. That's a really good segue for what we're going to talk about in our first section. And I want to be respectful of your time. We have Dave has his hand up for a long time, so I want to make sure that he has a chance. But we'll need to, Thomas, we'll need to wrap this up because I want to, you know, Sean have an evening. So let's try to be brief, but go for it, Dave.
Count on me. That's okay. I can, what I have can wait for another time. It's not something that has to be done right now.
Okay.
If you're running short of time, I can wait.
A little bit. we'll see. Well, Thomas, do you have something shortish?
Relatively high level update, but there was a plan to do a pedestrian bridge into Riverview Park, and I guess probably complicated by the California Avenue bridge issues that have been going on. Is that bridge still planning to go on? I don't know if that's a DOMI project or some other angle.
It is a DOMI project. It's run out of our project delivery bureau, which is technically separate than the bureau I work in, but we all, you know, are one team in the end. As far as I know, to my knowledge, that bridge is still, you know, going to happen. There's a separate pot of money allocated for that. As far as I know, it's still moving forward with the pedestrian bridge for Davis Avenue.
Gotcha. Does that factor into the plan that you were talking about regarding some sort of traffic modifications to Woods Run, McClure? I guess sort of. It's literally over it, but not quite part of it, I guess.
Yeah, they're right, you know, sort of right next to each other. But this that trail to Maredale project will get you to, I think it's Maredale Avenue in Riverview Park, and then that gets you to the loop, and the loop will bring you up to Davis Avenue. So it's connected, but they're not sort of overlapping.
Gotcha. So separate project, also DOMI, different scope, but still ongoing as far as you know. Okay, good to know.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course.
Cool. Well, thanks, Sean. We'll look through the rest of the questions in the chat, and hopefully we can figure out how to answer them somehow. But I do want to respect your time, and we really appreciate you taking the time to share all that stuff with us. I think it's been really informative. I learned a lot, so that was great. So anyway, thanks, Sean. I don't know if
no, I just want to say
thank
you everyone. I really appreciate it. You know, I appreciate the comments, the questions, the dialogue, and again, appreciate the support and advocacy. It goes a long way. Thank you all.
Cool, thanks. You're welcome to stick around, but you know, I understand it's your evening, so I'm sure we'll run into each other again. I'm gonna keep moving on to the updates for Bike Pittsburgh. Sean really set up, I think, a lot of the first thing we wanted to go into, which was that it's capital budget time, and this is one of the best tactics that we have to help get projects you know, funded and completed. You know, it's not the end all be all, but it is a great way to show support for the, you know, sort of to make the piece of the traffic calming pie bigger, and show support for that from the community, but also to get specific projects in. So with that said, we're encouraging everybody to write your council person again, as we do every year, for traffic calming, or you know, for projects you'd like to see funded in the capital budget. It's good to just kind of take a look at the capital budget, see how it's organized, maybe make specific requests in a department. So if you know it's a traffic calming, label it traffic calming. If you know it's like a bike lane, label it complete streets. you know, that it's just a great tool to help get some of this stuff done. And we've gotten several projects in the past couple of years actually through the capital process that are going to be implemented. For instance, the Penn Ave bike lane upgrades, Stanton Avenue made it through the capital process, and you know, they've, in my opinion, they've been really much more transparent about that sort of pipeline from capital budget to the street. And so I think that, making sure that we get those requests into your council people is even more important than ever, because they're the ones who have the ability to add stuff and vote for it. So we have a form. I think hopefully Seth just linked it. There's we want to help facilitate people writing these capital budget requests. So there's a form, and we also have like a best of the capital budget request letters, as well as like a little guide on how to do it if you have questions, but we're here to help. Seth put this form, so especially if you're a committee leader, please fill out the form, and we'll follow up with you and make sure and help get these things done that in a way that makes sense for these requests. So I don't have a lot more to say on that. I think everybody knows the deal, but just another reiteration that we're going to be looking for those and following up. Next, we have a big election coming up, and we are going to be doing candidate surveys on 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, districts 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Each of them has either, if it's an incumbent, has a challenger, or two people who are not incumbent. So we'll be doing the candidate survey like usual, but I'm really looking for people's input on what those questions should be. So in that form, the original form that Seth shared, there's just jot some ideas down, and we're going to go through that and hopefully come up with some great questions for council people. Just be sure to include what district you're specifically asking for. So if it's a specific project or a specific problem spot or something like that, just be sure to let us know. We'll help. I want to try to use that to inform the questions that we ask them. Moving on, I just want to give a brief update on where.
Eric, can I ask a quick question on
Sure thing.
Capital budgets before we run off that topic? We were discussing at our meeting last night, did it make sense to try to request letters of support from other community organizations? I don't know what the process is. We've never done that. I don't know if anybody else has. Like, for example, Southside Community Council doesn't normally do a capital budget request, but if we could get them to write a letter or send something along with our request, does that help? Should we do that? Thoughts?
I can't say that would hurt at all. So for instance, with, last year, one of our capital budget requests was the Penn Ave cycle track, upgrades, and we co-wrote that with the PDP, the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership. And so hopefully in our minds, that lent a little bit more weight to that being like an important project. So I think that any community support you can get is helpful. Just understand that these capital budget requests are not like the end all, like it's not like you submit it and you automatically get it. There is a lot of community work that does need to get done along with that request. And so, yeah, I do think that getting some other community groups will help improve the chances that your capital budget request will make its way through. Any other questions on that? I should have asked that earlier on capital budget. That was a good question. Thanks, Thomas. With that, I'm going to move on into some strip district updates. So as we all know, there was a pretty bad crash at the corner of 16th and Penn, right where the bike lane ends when you're going outbound. I haven't heard I don't know if anyone's heard an update on her. I haven't heard. She was in critical condition last we saw, or last we heard. But it has spurred, a little bit more, I say pressure, I guess, at least from the new council person who is in that district. So as we all know, we've been actively pushing for a safe trips in the strip for a long time, but a lot of that advocacy has now that was a lot of advocacy was going toward the previous council person, Deb Gross. She is no longer the council person of the strip. So now we're directing our attention to the new council person, who's Bobby Wilson, and catching him up on a lot of the, sort of the ins and outs, the politics, et cetera, of what's going on in the strip. We've spent the past year or so working pretty closely with DOMI on a publishing or creating a study. This is hopefully the last and final study of strip district things. But it goes through a whole lot of like where like a lot of parking, and also makes some recommendations for what can be accomplished in the strip, reasonably accomplished in the strip, and the pros and cons, et cetera. So we work closely with them. We just submitted that to them. So they're currently reviewing things. We've also submitted that to the council person. So he's aware of what's going on and sort of getting him up to speed on the ins and outs of the project. But with that said, that crash has spurred the council person to want to do something in the immediate term to help with that awkward connection. And so they're currently exploring some ideas right now. There's a handful of ideas out there. I honestly don't know where they're going with it at the moment, but I just know that they are in the process of working on some stuff. The ultimate goal of my understanding is that 15th Street will be the official connection, but it's a cobbled, really bad shaped street, but that's far down the line. So I honestly don't know what they're thinking at the moment, but just know that the ball is moving. Any questions on the strip? Trying to get through this so we have some time to have other talks. Hoping many of you can email it. Yeah, thanks, Abe. That is a good question or a good comment to email District 1 to show support. You can also, if you want to get now that we're getting back into the movement a lot with the strip district, we're going to be launching that campaign again soon. So the best way to also stay in contact is if you go to our website, bikepgh.org/strip district, and you can sign up to the email list there. And we'll be, when there's updates, assuming this goes to public meetings and stuff like that, we'll be sure that people are aware of it through that. So be sure to go to, if you're not on that list already, be sure to get on that list. Moving along, bike racks. This is possibly the last call for bike racks through the program that we've been working on with DOMI. There's a little bit less than 100 bike racks left to go through this contract that we have. And so right now, this is like the last, we don't know if it's going to be funded again anytime soon. So get your 311 requests in for bike racks like ASAP, or you can even just send me a list of like addresses that you think would be really great. But 311 would probably be the best place. We get those 311s directly to us through the partnership that we have. But I just want to like really reiterate, this might be the last time for a while that we're going to have this easy way to get some bike racks installed. They have to be on public property, and ideally on a sidewalk, and ideally on a concrete sidewalk. So those are the main requirements for it. So if it's in a private property situation, like a mall or like a strip mall or like a parking lot or something like that, they won't qualify for this program. And there's some like weird spots that we have trouble with, for instance, like Southside Works, because it's like quasi-private public kind of venture. So the more public property it is, the better. So anyway, just want to put a plug in for that. And then I want to put a plug in for a couple events that we have coming up. We're excited to bring the Street Project documentary on April 6th. Check that out. There's a link someone will put a link in the chat. It's a documentary about the fight for safe streets, and it's a double feature. So it's going to be preceded by the short film about the Frigid Bitch Alley Cat race called Bitch of a Race. And so we'll be there, and the filmmaker for the Bitch of a Race will also be there. And then so we'll screen both films and then have a short Q&A kind of conversation afterwards. But that's April 6th at Row House Cinema. All proceeds will be split between Bike Pittsburgh and the Babes on Bikes cycling team. So really hope people can attend that. We want to fill up Row House and build the hype and bring a friend. We also have Bike to Work Day coming up, May 19th. There's very little information on the website, but just know that there's going to be 2 commuter cafes in the morning and then 2 in the afternoon. I believe Oakland and downtown. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. So look forward for that. And then open streets, some exciting news going on with that. We've submitted for the last Sundays of May, June, and July with 3 new routes. And so what we've submitted for, we don't know if it's going to be approved yet, but in short, we have a route that goes from the north side through downtown to the south side. We have another route that's going to go from Lawrenceville. It's actually all the way to the north side. And then another route that we're hoping will go from between Oakland and Bloomfield. So those are the ones we've submitted for. We're still waiting on approvals, but just want to start building the hype and let people know that this is coming up and it's going to, to get involved and whatnot. So we're always in need of volunteers. So from the Open Streets website, you can sign up to volunteer, but also if it's going to be close to your neighborhood, we can talk about ways to make it interesting for your neighborhood. Those are the main updates I got. And I wanted to spend, looks like we have about 12 minutes now. So maybe the hour and a half is a little short, but we'll make it work. I still want to end by 7:30 to respect everybody's time. So if we can be brief and we want to do our typical neighborhood updates. It's been a while since we've done that. We really want to hear what's going on around town and in your neighborhood. So feel free to unmute yourself, or maybe we can do the raise hand feature, but I think we're adults. We can do the unmute and just not talk over each other as well. Does anybody want to go first? I know there's been some cool stuff happening. And if you don't go first, I might call on somebody.
So I could go first.
Thanks, Paul.
This is Paul Heckford. I'm in Regent Square area. So with the reopening of the Fern Hollow Bridge, Forbes Avenue, where it goes over Fern Hollow, there's some details of that construction that bother me a little bit. There's a curb at the west end of the bridge to get out of the bike lane into the park, and there's potential for ice formation just to the west of that spot. So I was disappointed that the city didn't deal with those issues better. So that's a very detailed point, but that's one issue I wanted to speak up about.
Thanks, Paul. Anyone else want to share something that's going on in your neck of the woods or something you've done as a Bike-Ped committee?
I can share Lawrenceville's updates, which is our big push right now is to get cars to stop parking on sidewalks, which is a little easier than cars parked in bike lanes because people on sidewalks tend to stay overnight and day after day. What we're doing is we've tackled a single street and we're flyering it every month, and we're seeing how much that helps. So every month we're going to go back, flyer the same cars over and over and see if it's having an impact. If it is, we will hope to spread it across the city. I think a lot of people just don't know that it's an issue. And currently data shows that it's having about a 20% impact every time we flyer, but that could be a fluke in the data. But each time we flyer, there's 20% fewer cars the next month on the sidewalk. So the next one is this Sunday. And we have flyers that I can give you if you want to try this out in your neighborhood.
Thanks, Armin. Anyone else want to share?
I'll share real quick, actually, because I actually need some help. I haven't been doing a lot of Bike-Ped advocacy the past couple of months because, work, but also because the Greenfield Community Association is going through the process to become an RCO rather than just a 501c3. So hopefully that gets us a little bit more of an ear. So that's great. We've been focused on that. But I've recently engaged 2 businesses that are on the corner of Murray Avenue and Hazelwood. There's a new children's bookstore there, and the food pantry, the Jewish Family Community Services food pantry is there, and they are both very interested in organizing for traffic calming. So if anybody has ever done advocacy work in partnership with businesses, let me know. My name's Catherine Adams. I'd love to hear from you and how you did that.
Thanks, Kat. Yeah, that is a pretty terrible intersection. We were there with the bike racks thing, and it was just like watching over and over again. It was really sad to see. So thanks. Yeah, we can touch base. But yeah, do you want to publish your email address?
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat. Yeah, and also
okay.
On the note of bike racks, I'll just say Eric helped us get 19 bike racks installed throughout Greenfield last year. So that program is amazing. If you have any places, talk to him about it and make it happen.
Thanks for the plug.
Yes, thank you, Southside. We really appreciate that, Eric. That was a lot of work, and we appreciate it very much.
Cool, thanks. Any other updates around town?
I can talk about Highland Park in East Liberty.
Yeah, go for it.
So, we're trying to plan a meeting with a traffic engineer, or sorry, what was his name? Panini Chowdhury for the East Liberty safety plan. And we actually had it scheduled for this week, but then he had to push it back a little bit. So now we're targeting the end of March, early April. So we'll probably be posting an event to our Facebook page. If people are interested in getting more information. What else? The Penn two-way conversion of Penn Circle is going on. I don't know if you live in the area, you've seen all of the cones going up. And it looks like they're just doing intersection by intersection, but it's exciting to see that go in. And we're collecting, or I would like to collect some recommendations for critical sidewalk gaps program for 2024. So that's something we're going to be discussing hopefully at our next meeting, and that'll be the same meeting with Panini Chowdhury. So I think that's it. And we took part in the Parking on Sidewalks campaign. I still have flyers, so if anyone in this group lives in Highland Park or East Liberty, let me know and I can pass out flyers to you directly.
Thanks, Abe. Appreciate that. Yeah, that Penn Circle conversion is really cool. It's not a city project, so there's no engage page, and we're kind of waiting on some legible drawings to share. But pretty excited about that. It's a URA project. Anybody else want to share something that you're doing?
I can talk about some updates from Pogo. I'm Erin from Pogo Bike Share. We are hosting a community coalition meeting next Wednesday, March 22nd. It's being held from 4 to 6:30 at our offices. And we are going to have a variety of things happening at this event, but perhaps one of the most exciting things is that we will be revealing our expansion plans for this year. Pogo will be expanding. I can't really reveal too many details at this point, but anyone from the public is welcome to join that meeting. You'll not only hear about our plans for this year, but we'll also be discussing our 10-year regional plan to expand even past city limits, which is really exciting. So I'll drop the link in the chat if you're interested at all. It is filling up, so I think there's only like 10 or 11 spots left to make sure we can fit everyone in our offices. But everyone is welcome. And thank you to those of you who have already signed up, because I see a lot of familiar names.
Thanks, Erin. Where are your offices so people know?
3328 Penn Avenue. We are right next to the Family Dollar. depending on who you ask, we are in Lower Lawrenceville or the school district. So.
All right, Lola, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else want to share something?
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Alex in Morningside. Our last sort of Bike-Ped group meeting, there was a lot of discussion about trying to organize a project of either doing like street art or installing planters in some areas to stop cars from parking really close to intersections, maybe like painting some stairs. And so we're kind of working with MAC, the Morningside Area Community Council, like they're going to try to figure out how to find money for a bigger project. But I'm interested if anyone has info for sort of running a project like that or experience doing it. I'd really like to sort of hear about how that went and sort of how it was organized. I'll drop my email in the chat too.
Yeah, Alex, we might have, I don't want to get into it now, but we might have some guidance for you as well. We've done a couple sort of pop-up things, so might be able to help on some level as well, so we can touch base. I think I have your contact.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else? I'm surprised I'm not hearing from Squirrel Hill. I know Squirrel Hill was doing something. I guess anybody?
I'll just say something real quick.
I knew you were there, Yale.
Well, I thought it was sort of covered already. I know there's been a lot of talk about and DOMI mentioned, Dallas, Beacon, Beechwood, Forbes, that whole area from the Fern Hollow Bridge reconstruction. So we've been involved with some of the meetings, and we're just keeping our advocacy on with them to keep them honest. And whatever other pieces, there's a few other pieces around there too.
Right. Yeah, Squirrel Hill continues to engage with that, and the one important thing to remember is that our understanding is that the current changes are the quick and dirty things to make it possible to get through plausibly safely now, but that they have agreed that they should do a longer term study once they have some traffic numbers to try to plan something that is actually maybe good, not just marginally safe. And so we have both ideas about how to address what needs to happen now, which has a lot of interaction with the neighbors involved, and also ideas about a better plan for the future that would be a substantial improvement, but would take longer to achieve. And so we just want to keep it on the table that there's both a short-term and a long-term thing, and don't install the short-term thing and think it's done.
Thanks, Mary.
Oh, and now let me just add one other thing, Laura, Squirrel Hill. One of the things that we are going to try to renew this year is to have like a community bike ride. So I just suggest that for all the groups, that's something to try to do to engage the whole community, and whether it's a bike ride or a walk, pedestrian kind of thing. That's something to get everybody involved and to know what we're doing. So.
Thanks, Yale. Yeah. Oh, let us know if you need help advertising it. Sorry, go ahead, Mary.
One other thing on the Squirrel Hill list is with the closure of the Anderson Bridge. The plans have plausible bicycle connections, but all of our experience with plans is that if you don't keep after them and keep asserting your interest, that they somehow get dominated by other stakeholders. And so Squirrel Hill also has it on the list to preserve the at least as good a plan. Yeah, to wind up with at least as good as what's currently planned.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I when I was talking to Sean before this meeting, I assumed that someone was going to ask that question, and I guess it didn't come up. But it's not his project, so he's not 100% of. I don't know if he's still here or not. I think he left, but it's not his project, so he doesn't 100% know everything that's going on. He did say the scoping. It's always tough when it's like a bridge project and they have to like figure out the scope outside of the bridge because that's like different money. And so the scoping right now, from what he understands, is to make sure it connects on both sides of the bridge. I believe to the park, the playground, which would, has the bike path over to Shenley Drive, as well as, I'm not really sure where in South Oakland. I'm assuming Parkview, but I'm not really sure how that's going to connect. So it's not just like an island on the bridge.
Right.
But he did say that our advocacy on this would be appreciated to help, make the case to extend it further and then figure out how to get that done.
I will take that back to the Shuck group. Yeah, if you put the cycle track on the north side of the street, there's a natural connection to Anderson Playground, and that gets you not only to the Phipps cycle track but also under the boulevard to Overlook Drive, which isn't perfect, but is not part of the bridge project. At the other end, there's a good connection to Parkview. You can just come off the bridge and turn right into Parkview. It's slightly dicier coming down Parkview and making a left onto the bridge because a car might be turning. But there's no good connection to the south side of the boulevard at that point. So this is definitely on our horizon.
Thanks, Mary. Well, it's 7:32. Unless anybody has any itching things they need to share, this is your last chance. I don't hear anything, so I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate everybody's time and spending your evening with us. Like I said, we're going to be following up. Looks like we have a lot of to-dos on our list now. So really appreciate that, the conversation and sharing, and hopefully you all got some useful stuff from Sean today. But just want to reiterate the capital budget letters is like really top priority. I don't think I mentioned, but we're trying to have them in by like the end of May, early June is really when they need to be in. That's when they start the process all over again. So anyway, looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. And yeah, with that, have a good evening. And thanks especially to my staff for helping out today, by the way. With that, see everybody next time.
Thanks, everybody. So good to meet you.
Take care, everyone.